This is the Stepping Rays of the Art of War. We have Dr. Herbert Gale, the chairman of the Fathers Incorporated, social anthropologist and lecturer in the Department of Sociology, Psychology and Social Work at the University of the West Indies. Brethren, good afternoon, sir.
Yes, Luther, what's up?
Stepping Rays is up. Crime is up. The rate of the money is up. A whole heap of things got up. Yes. So look here now. Yeah. You was at this conference. When the conference came?
Which of them?
The conference. There was a conference on crime.
Oh, at Capri. This was on Monday.
Oh, Monday. Okay.
Yeah.
What was that? What was it all about? What was it about?
Capri was launching a 2-year project in trying to address some of the issues. In fact, the idea of Capri is to link research and stuff on the ground to policymakers, because there's a gap between all the work we do and policymakers thinking that they should use what we do. You understand? So Capri's idea is to create that link between policymakers and the practitioners and academics.
All right. So did the crime thing take center stage, even though not that you was discussing?
It was about violence,
Okay.
About violent crime, actually.
Yes. All right. We look at the thing and we say in Jamaica the thing kind of get away, really. No, there's no doubt about it get away. But last night, even while I was looking on you in the newspaper there and dealing with this thing, the night when I come here from the cutting edge, I hear say 12 people get shot and 5 people dead. Yep. So it is multiplying in numbers now. It's not just 1 or 2 men get shot in our way. It's 5 and 6 and 12 now. I mean, what next, mama? What's that? I mean, it's terrible, man.
Yes, that's what's happening.
All right, as an anthropologist, the study of human beings in their environment, I think that is what it means. And a sociologist and a chairman of the Fathers Incorporated, what you think is not being done and what you think that should be done? Because we know there's a multiplicity of ways. There's no one way to solve this thing. There's a multiplicity of ways now. As a person in the anthropology, sociology, psychology and Fathers Incorporated, what you think is not being done and what you think that should be done, that is not being done?
All right. Some of the most basic things that are not being done. If we start from policymakers, a lot of our policies are turned upside down. We start out in the first place, Luther, of just continuing the slavery we're in. Yes, and our policymakers make up part of what we call the central political authority, which are all the people who have any form of authority in our country and are responsible for governance. If you look at what policymakers are interested in, they're interested in control. Now, control of itself is misunderstood, because you can have a child and you control the child, but the child is, as soon as you turn your back, the child does whatever he or she wants to do.
Yeah.
But people seem to be preoccupied with control, and if you're preoccupied with control, you're going to do something called suppression rather than reduction. So you see, the suppression means that everything look good enough. The uptown people, them get a chance to feel safe tonight because police lick off the door off a 2-youth house and catch 2 scammers and so forth and so forth and so forth. And if you look at the investment in the real issues, you realize you describe that as being poor. If you look at the investment in suppression, you would describe that as being commendable. So in other words, the whole policy frame is wrong. Right? What would cause a youth to be violent to the point of finality, as in take a man's life? Because it's not like just stabbing a man in this arm, and most of the man going to bleed or what more lives. The idea is to take a man's life, which means that A, you don't really value that man's life. B, that man is in a game of war with you, in which you need to have him completely annihilated, right? And C, and most important, that man is in a competition with you for scarce resources, or that man is attempting to block your survivability, right? So when you get to that level of understanding the game theory of war and violence, you understand that anybody at all who is in policy and don't understand those very basics miss the mark completely, because you can't suppress that. Yes? What you need to be doing is to be looking at the roots. You have some communities in Kingston, Spanish Town, Montego Bay, right? Those are your top areas in violence, right?
Yeah.
And you have some communities in those areas where the whole structure itself creates a pool for gang recruitment. You have, right now, if you look at some of the data we have, you have like in some towns up to 14 communities have less than 70% of boys in school between age 6 and 18. Now, if they're not in school, remember, nobody can be completely, unless you lock a person in prison, nobody can be completely inactive. And even in prison, they're not inactive.
Yeah.
So in other words, the person is left to be misplaced in the way they do things.
And manipulated too.
And manipulated by others, because that person is going to get recruited. Right?
All right, shouldn't it be one of the things them we talk about the youth them who supposed to their school and their school. This is a fall upon the regulation that deal with parenthood and the regulation that deal with how government really facilitate that structure for parenthood to manifest itself, rather than you just say, boy, the people should have been at school. There should be something there, not just the parents, because sometimes the parents is at fault, but there should be legislation to really deal with why is it that this youth is not in school and who must take responsibility for the youth not in school. This is where the father incorporated will come in. Right, but here's how life works. You can legislate, but after you legislate, you have to police. Yes.
And when you police, you have to police in something called reality.
Yes.
All right, I'll give you an example. I could take something that's on the books called vagrancy. That means if you start from a corner and chat too much, a man can move you up, right? But how realistic is that? Let's take another one. Let's take this issue of this matter that if you're 17 years old and you get a girl 15-year-old pregnant, you can be arrested. Right? Remember all of these things? But when the probation officer comes around and sees the two of you living together with your child, the probation officer have on the book that the law can be extended to you in all of these ways, but he end up giving you counseling and probably helping you to get a job. Parenting now.
Yes.
The kids are supposed to be at school, but the mother hungry, the father absent.
Yes.
And the boy a hustle food, and anyhow you make the boy go into school, everybody dead for hungry.
Yeah.
What do you do? So in other words, the state cannot police that which it has not provided for.
So what should be the outcome?
The outcome should be that the state has listed and parametered all the families that are in that level of trouble.
Yes.
And there should be some facility that says, look, we have provided you with the resources to go to school, therefore you should be in school. But if you don't give me none, you cannot ask me for any.
Yeah, all right. I don't want to bring up this, but...
Yeah, so this is what the problem is.
Yeah, I see the problem, but you want me to say now, because I want to bring up this and I don't want to bring it up. All right. Dudus, you see? Dudus institute a law in a Tivoli. Him say, no little picnic must be on the road 8 o'clock.
Right.
After 8. And believe you me, everybody know. You see 8 o'clock, no little picnic on the road. All the hell Dudus do that. Right.
But take the efficacy of that institution, which would be far better than the country.
Come again. Explain that.
I'm saying,
yes.
If you take an enclave, if you take a group of persons, Dudus, whatever, whichever group, because he's not the only one.
Yeah, but Dudus was not criminal in Jamaica, we must remember that, you know.
Yes, but I'm saying to you, follow what both of us are saying. I am saying here that if you take an inner city community run by a solid don, I talk about the ones with splintered don.
Yes.
Those that are run by a solid don, who create a welfare state in the state.
So where help the children them and the mother and the parents them in the community.
So let's say there's a dads who come and make sure everybody tuition gets paid.
All right.
Everybody have a job.
Yes.
When him come out and say 8 o'clock, everybody off the road.
Yes.
There ought to be no discussion
about it.
You see, people think that in these enclaves or in these isolated communities, that the dads come out and make up a big noise.
No, they don't make up no noise, no sir.
And he has no resources to back it up. But that is what the error is.
Yes, of course. But
switch from that now back to the state motor. The state come and make up a whole heap of noise, but you have no resources and nothing to back up what they do. So it don't work. That is why Dudus will be more effective than the state.
But all right, I give a good example of something. Darling Street, down at Coronation Market, let's say.
Right.
There was a time when you go at Coronation Market and you can't even turn from Darling Street from West Queen Street, let's say. Because the place block up. Me see them clear out a piece of land opposite the market. And some man down there appoint you which way for park. Go over the Sogo Park, and the man them park the car in a way that when you don't shop, you can come out back. This was instituted in the community of Tivoli Garden. Now, may I say, how the hell the government reach a stage where a one man, a one dan,
more effective than the state.
You can't go in a Tivoli Garden and go rob nobody and run away because they might go find you. And they're going to do what they're supposed to do. Justice. How that happened? How that happened? No. But how that happened?
I'm going to give you one word that explains a lot. It's called legitimacy. You see that a lot of the dons are more legitimate
than the government.
Because remember, legitimacy is based on the fact that anything at all you promise.
Yeah, you're supposed to deliver.
You deliver.
Yes.
And if you deliver, it means that you therefore have power over me.
Yes.
No, the state don't deliver to poor people, to urban poor people or rural poor people. What the state does is bully people. So it means that the state don't really have any serious power outside of force.
Yes.
To govern. So the state therefore have to invade people's community and kick off them door and rate it.
Yes.
While a dad can say, yo, go to your bed.
Yes. Come off of the road.
And come off of the road and you go to your bed and come off of the road.
All right, so what must the state do to lead, to bring them to the position where them can say, look here, we don't want no tint glass, we don't want no loud noise on the bus, all right, whatever. Them keep doing it and 9 days after, this is the thing go back. What's who come back there? This is the stepping razor. Yeah, this is the stepping razor. We're talking to Dr. Herbert Gale, is the chairman for the Fathers Incorporated, plus social anthropologist, lecturer in the Department of Sociology, Psychology and Social Work at UWI. We're just talking about the present situation and I say, we can really put a little thing on it. I mean, it's not a big thing we can do, but we are say, we can figure it out, you know. So, Mr. Herbert, Mr. Gale?
Yes, I'm here,
all right.
Yeah.
All right. We did talk about how the Dan, especially Dudus, how we say that actually the Dan them make the thing work, but there's no respect for the government or the police. We just talked to some brethren inside a while ago, and we are talking about how people tell you must tell where you know. But the people in the community, when them tell the police what them know, the police them don't take it serious. A whole heap of time the people them in the community know what is happening now. When the people them tell the police, them don't listen to the people them.
Yeah, but if even before we get there, so the one of the big advantages that Adan have over the government too, is the fact that the government is seen as labor right or comrade. In a community, you don't have a choice between labor right and comrade. You're either labor right or comrade.
Yes.
So they get rid of the faction already.
Yes.
So the entire community is united against the other community up the road that will attack them.
Yes.
So all of these forces, the way we are constructed, gives the Dons power compared to a broken government. You see? The government is seen, the government is protected when JP in power, the Labourites protected the government while the don't like them, and when the comrades are in power, the Labourites attack the comrades. So as long as we see ourselves as Labourite and comrade before we see ourselves as Jamaican, the government will always be weak.
Yeah, but all right. Successive government talk about the breaking down of garrisons, especially this one, especially this youth our name St. Andrew of Holy One. Him say, and him declare say, him going to broke down the garrison. But we don't see, I mean, why is it that we not hear nothing again about the breaking down of garrisons, which we know say, the garrison is one of them where sustain some of them power. And the garrison is one of them where we see that a lot of the things them where we claim say is criminality and take place in a. Why is it that it don't come on the top burner when them come into power? Is it because them see that this is how them going to maintain power, so them don't really interested to break it down?
The garrisons work. The garrisons have a symbiotic brother-sister relationship with government all the time.
Yeah.
Each party have their sites of security and protection. So whether it's JP or PNP in power, it amounts to the same thing. So you see, as long as we have that in place, as long as a man can guarantee, say, get 20% and vote by force, you understand? The thing not going to be united enough where a government can speak with one voice. And once you can speak with one voice, you can enjoy legitimacy.
Yes.
And once you don't have legitimacy, you can't run a country.
Yeah. So what we can do? What can we do? What can we do? Tell me now. Because it kind of look a dim way, but we know that there must be a light. What we can do? Tell me.
Let me tell you, the bottom line is education, because there's a direct connection between the level of education of the poorest people and the degree of violence in the country. Anytime we take your bottom quintile, meaning the 20% poorest people, and the bulk of those people are illiterate, your country is always going to be manipulated by anybody at all who wants power. That is, if you look at the countries now that are peaceful, and you take the gap between the top quintile and the bottom quintile in terms of education, there's no big difference. It's a matter of choice.
Yes.
But here in Jamaica, you have rural parishes where you have men up to 45% of men illiterate.
Yes.
Now that community will be separated from an urban community, because in that community, even though the man don't have no quality education, they have property, they have a farm, they have land, they have a house.
But no education.
So that is why the illiterate or marginally illiterate of the rural communities don't put the country in any trouble.
Yeah.
If you swing from that now to Kingston, Spanish Town, St. James, Clarendon, right, Train Line, all of those places now, it's a completely different effect, because here's a man who is barely literate and has no property and has no access to resources. He lives in a community that people determine, that people brand underserved. He sees MPs and everybody when election time and they want something from him. The man has to go look it. You see? So in other words, the inequalities, the construction, the way we construct things, the way we write up that the way a man is a man and have to have enough girl and girl in a bungle. All the things we put up forward for a man to be a man in Jamaica requires him to either take it or earn it. And if he can't earn it, he take it.
Yeah. And we just see where everybody are take.
So we don't have the social frame for stability. We don't have the social frame for stability. We don't have the education frame. We don't have the equality frame. We don't have the respect for each other frame. We don't have none of the frames for equality, for stability. The frames we have is for war. So solving this requires a lot of people to sit down together and be honest and say, look, let's begin. But what people do in Jamaica, just like you heard some people saying on Monday, is just chat. And that is why some people were saying them hear a whole lot of chatting now and I'm tired of the chatting.
Yes. So if you're tired of chatting, what you going to do? That is really the question.
Yeah.
What you going to do?
It's not just a matter of government, because the government, people in government already have their thing work out, They have their 2 cents work out. It's people at the community level have to also begin to say, you know what? Let's come together and start a business, a car wash out on the road, and we'll ask masters to manage it, and we'll create some employment for yourself because we're on our own.
Yeah.
But a lot of communities are not. There's nobody there that is looking at that. They're looking at how we can go scam, how we can go do whatever and so forth. But there are a few communities where somebody pick up leadership and say, look, we're going to have some community tourism.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things missing, but it's not hopeless. The biggest hope.
No, it can't be hopeless. No. We're not even looking at hopelessness, We are looking at the extension of this craziness, which we know it's ever done, but, getting there is really some serious thing. And how much people is going to fall down by the wayside before we get there.
Before we get there.
That is really the problem.
The problem for me, Muta, is that a lot of people say that we are all going to have to sacrifice in order to get there. And when I ask, what must they sacrifice? They say the poor people must sacrifice in life.
When is that happen?
Various people must sacrifice other things. And I'm saying, but we could sacrifice eating less. We could sacrifice something that don't include poor people's lives. That is the beef I have with the Jamaican society. Anything at all to be sacrificed is poor people must sacrifice.
We could have done go on a party at night time. We could have stopped by certain things. I mean, a whole party we could have stopped by, but it's only poor people have to go to these things.
Right.
Yes.
And that's where the problem is. If we're going to sacrifice, if there's a social marketing for us to sacrifice, it must be everybody.
Cross the board.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Ibert, give thanks.
Yeah, man.
Give thanks, I mean, you use the skill them for sure. We had a little thing a while ago, and I think pan somewhere you just say a while ago, and I go really figure it out, And I tell you what I think pan, but it's true you why I think pan it still. Anyway, give thanks, brethren.
Yeah, man. Blessing.
Yeah. That was Dr. Herbert Gale, the chairman of the Fathers Incorporated Social Anthropologist and lecturer in the Department of Sociology, Psychology and Social Work at the University of the West Indies, Mona.